Hey guys, I'm immune to awkwardness and would like to share some tips with you all. Silence. For most people, there is nothing more awkward than a little bit of silence in a conversation. For me, I couldn't care less if there's silence. What's the difference if you're alone and it's silent or with people and it's silent? It's not awkward when you're alone. Think of it the same way. Don't go using your brain and energy into thinking of useless things to say to fill up time in order to make someone else feel less awkward. Try enjoying the silence and waiting for someone else to say something, because there's no rush. In silence, you can observe more and be more thoughtful with your words. But for any other awkward life situation, think of it this way. If this awkward situation were to take up 1 minute of your life, picture that 1 minute in that 1 week of that 1 month of that 1 year of all the years of life you have. Now go out from that one moment and look at all the years and all the time. That moment doesn't even make up 1% of your whole life. Don't give a fuck, it'd be awkward.
Rick and Morty, 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 Rick and Morty.
If you struggle with self-hatred or confidence issues, I please ask you to watch for just a few minutes, because I think my story could maybe help others and inspire them to make the change they've been wanting to for a long time. I used to be as hateful as they come, when you can be hating yourself. And this started at a very young age for me, and I know it's different for everyone. But this left a dent in my brain, which left me to think that I was always overweight and looked different, so it made me want to hide myself, which I did for 4 or so years. Time and time again, I would try to work out and exercise to get a healthier looking body, and it rarely ever worked, and actually led to worse issues. In the past year or so, I have successfully been working out ever since I started in March 2020, and eating more healthily, but of course in moderation. This has made an everlasting impact on my life, because I thought I was going to wear hoodies for the entire rest of my life until this. And look, I'm wearing a shirt right now. I really know what it's like to feel the pain of hating every aspect about yourself. I know what it's like to not want to be alive because you can't stand to look in the mirror one more time. I know what it's like to just never want to eat again and to just disappear off this planet. I know exactly what it feels like to be comparing yourself to every single person you see and how much it hurts. I know what it's like to feel so hopeless and picturing your life to never change. I am living, breathing, walking proof of that change, and I know it can happen for any single person out there. This isn't about getting a picture-perfect, idealistic, whatever body. This is about feeling more confident in yourself and becoming more healthy and fit. Also accepting yourself more, because that's really the most important thing. And I wish that everyone out there, whether they work out, eat healthy or not, could truly accept themselves, because that would be great. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday. Sometimes even just getting up out of bed in the morning is an accomplishment in itself. Don't disregard small actions, because a bunch of small actions added together is a huge one. If someone's out there watching this right now who feels very hopeless and alone, I want you to know you're not. Please message me. And if you can't message me, DM me on Instagram. It's somewhere on my TikTok, I think. Although, if you do really want to make a change, I have some tips. First, you can't expect to wake up to a brand new body tomorrow. Transformation takes time, and you need to be dedicated and consistent. Like I said before, small actions lead to bigger ones. Even if you go on a 30-minute walk a few times a week, or switch out a soda for some water, or many other things that are little small details, they add up. Find what works for you and what is easiest for you to keep doing consistently. Another tip is to fake it till you make it. I know it's cliche, but if you just start telling yourself you love yourself, then eventually one day you'll realize you mean it. I could say a lot more, but lastly, think of a friend or family member you love dearly. Your love wouldn't change for them no matter what they look like. That should go the same way for yourself. People think they're so smart, but consciously choose to be so unaccepting of others' expressions and perspectives on the world. If you were really so smart, wouldn't you be more focused on improving society and reforming society's structures into a more modern system which generates useful impacts? Or you can spend your free time being eaten up by pessimism. There's not one reason to hate or judge anyone in the world, because we all originate from the same source of energy. We all originate and come from the same place. In turn, you can be enlightened to find out we are all connected as one. Stay with me on this though, even if you don't believe it. Going off what I said, as we are all one, means that any person you see on the street, you're the exact same as, not only metaphorically, but physically. And they are the exact same as you. Now, why would you want to be putting negativity in your own direction? People create big things out of little things nowadays, even though sometimes precautions are necessary. By this, I mean no matter what video you watch on the internet, there's people hating on it, in one way or another. You judging or hating towards other people is actually you being jealous of some sort of aspect that person carries in themselves, whether you want to admit that or not. How about people choose to not get mad over every tiny little thing that happens and start to worry and care more about themselves? Because maybe if they did put more effort into themselves in their life, maybe better consequences would come their way. Don't get me wrong, there are always more important things to care about, but those should be ones that affect a larger group of people in their own lives. Making a huge commotion out of some almost meaningless video online makes absolutely no sense to me. It's not hard to be nice, and I promise you, it's not hard to shut up. You can be funny, honest, out of the box even, and still be nice and accepting towards everyone. It's a lot easier to just be nice, and I guarantee that it gets you more in return almost every single time. All in all, go leave people alone, fuck off when you're being mean, and go tell someone they're beautiful. Money can't buy happiness, and I'm going to tell you why. Money can buy us material and physical items which give us a temporary sense of satisfaction and happiness through our five senses. When this happens and we feel happy through a material or physical item bought with money, we get a rush of dopamine because of our five senses being activated and it making us think we're happy. Once this rush of dopamine goes away, we're left with the feeling we had before of dissatisfaction or sadness. But what about happiness beyond our five physical senses? What about internal happiness? True happiness comes from within you. If you can be happy with yourself and where you are in life, you won't need any amount of validation or external material physical items to validate that false sense of security and happiness you think is making you happier. Relying on other people's validations to make you happy and feel secure in yourself won't do that for you. It might do that temporarily, but it's not a stable or steady way for you to really be happy and confident in who you are. That validation will come and go, and once it goes, you'll be left with the sadness, dissatisfaction, and insecurities once all of that leaves you. If you have true inner happiness and confidence for yourself and your life, the things going on around you won't matter as much because you'll feel really stable inside yourself and be happy. You'll be able to feel a whole new sense of happiness and gratefulness for yourself and your life when you can get this true inner peace and happiness. Nothing in life is permanent, and relying on these temporary people to fix your temporary feelings won't make you feel better. What will make you feel better is to be there for yourself, because at the beginning, end, and middle of your day, truly the only person standing by your side and holding you up is yourself. It can be really easy to forget how important your relationship with yourself is, but in my opinion, it's the most important one to create for your whole life because it's the only one that you really have for your whole life. So, yeah. About a month ago, this realization hit me, and that realization was that there are two different types of thoughts, main types of thoughts that we can have in our brain, in our world, creating our world, and these two types of thoughts I characterize as busy thoughts and calm thoughts. Now, it can seem pretty self-explanatory at first, but there are a lot more busy thoughts going on in your head than you could typically assume there to be. What I experienced was that these busy thoughts are just about all these ordinary thoughts people are having running through their heads a day, thinking about what they have to do, why they have to do it, why they feel this way, all these things. And on the other hand, these calm thoughts are things that are a lot nicer towards yourself and just in general calmer about your overall situation, such as, I'm doing so well, I love myself, everything is happening exactly how it is meant to, and I am enjoying every second of it. Now this takes me to about 2 days ago when I was watching this YouTube video from this guy named Muji, I think that's how you say it, and he was talking about these two types of thoughts that I had thought about a few weeks before then. And what he described it as is you can't always, rarely ever control who walks up to your house and knocks on your door, which are these busy thoughts, but you can control if you answer the door, and if you allow yourself to give your attention and energy to who is at your door, wanting your attention. Now, these things you can't control, walking up to your door, are your thoughts. And this door is your brain, and if you want to allow it to affect you and how you feel. Something I think people could do, or try to do, is that when they see these busy thoughts approaching their mind, and they don't want to be thinking them, and they can recognize that there's a different thought that's a lot calmer that they could be thinking, to not answer the door for these thoughts, and instead go back inside, into your mind, sit on the couch, and, just take care of yourself. Don't be running around for all these people banging at your door who want to take this from you and want this and that and all these things, running a race all around your mind that you will never catch up with. Not only does it feel extremely better to get into the pattern of thinking these calm thoughts, but it will make your life better, and your life will stop being so much of this hectic maze that you can't seem to get any help in. And your life will start to be a lot calmer, and you will be appreciative of a lot more than these busy thoughts are distracting you from. The way you express yourself to the world and others around you is a direct representation of how you deep down feel inside about yourself and your own life. It might not sound like it makes sense at first, but once you dive deeper, it makes complete, absolute logical sense. Think about a made-up person in your imagination that would undoubtedly treat the people and world around them with love, respect, integrity, kindness, and patience. 9 out of 10 times, this person hasn't always thought, acted, and spoken this kind of way. They have learned through their own journey of becoming the best version of themselves. Also, 9 out of 10 times, this is a person who has true inner love and peace for not only themselves, but the entire universe surrounding them, or at least they're working towards that. Having great amounts of inner love, peace, and acceptance for the totality of life is what grows the kind of head and heart this person has. Now imagine a second made-up person who treats the world around them with hate, disgust, disrespect, dishonesty, and immaturity. Those words already begin to paint a picture of who that person is on their innermost levels. Don't get me wrong, this person could possibly be your parents, best friend, or even yourself, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're an awful person. They are struggling inside with anything from unhappiness, mental illness, trauma, loneliness, lack of love, or anything from their past that's continuing to infuse their life with negativity. This person who feels so negative on the inside is subconsciously so miserable that they find there's no other way to make themselves feel better than to tear everyone down with them, whether it's intentional or not. Most people become the second person I just described through life's many unexpected conflicts, struggles, and battles. Some of these people wouldn't even notice or think of it to be them. The first person I described is somewhere inside all of us. It's a choice how you act, and it's a choice how you want to make others feel. Becoming the best version of yourself doesn't happen overnight. You have to be dedicated and ready for screw-ups along the way. You should never let a setback keep you down. Think of it as something to keep you pushing forward more. To become the best version of yourself, learn about yourself, heal yourself, and have more patience with yourself. Hold love inside your heart every day, and remember how much more useful love is than hate. The saying is, kill them with kindness, not kill them with their own weapons. Even though one person's voice can seem like I'm talking to a bottomless pit nowadays, I like to know I'm at least doing something, even if it's just voicing things for myself. Being so, I still hope that someone watches and could maybe see how some of the hurt they carry inside translates into their own reality. It is never too late to start. And in no means am I trying to imply that I'm always right and the best, most positive person out there. It's a process you have to be willing to take yourself on and willing to face some of your own darker aspects you may not know you even have. Whatever all 7.6 billion people are going through out there, you need to know that there is a way to life where no matter the pain or how badly it hurts inside every day and every moment, you can still continue to see the light no matter if you're going through something that feels impossible. Know that that thing that feels impossible would not be happening to you if you were not capable of learning and overcoming the sentimental hardships that come and go as fast as the sun rises and sets every 24 hours. This light is a different feeling for most of us, but is considerably remembering what you have inside you, how strong you are, and what you have to offer to this world and other people every day. It's remembering how far you've come, and if you were to give up now, what you'd be throwing away. The light is looking at your future and still remembering all of the positive things you have to receive. The light is you believing in yourself. Every single human being on the planet wakes up in the morning and lives the same lives on the spectrum of highs and lows. We live more similarly than people paint the picture to be. There are so many reasons created nowadays to divide us from our own true supporters when really we're meant to teach, love, positively influence, carry, pick up, help, and accept each other. Every single human on Earth has similarities and differences, but that doesn't mean we have to continue going straight to the differences, causing ripples of negativity. We are conditioned to perceive and believe how everyone is so different, when if you were to just look at it from the other angle for 1 second, you would see how similar all of us really are, and how similar all of our lives really are. We cry, we smile, we scream, we yell, we laugh, we make jokes, we make mistakes, we do things for others. We want the world to become a better place. We go to school or we have a job. We deal with family issues. We deal with friends' issues. We deal with our own personal issues. We do the wrong thing. We do the right thing. We eat. We go to sleep and we wake up. We make sure the people we care about know that. I'm sure if you're still listening that you hear what I'm saying. That doesn't necessarily mean you're taking it to heart, though. Yes, there are humans that are polar opposites of each other in this world. But those polar opposites will still have everything I just listed in common. The way that you treat others is the way you will be treated in return. Also, remember that you get what you give, so go spread some love and make this world a better place. Yeah. The other week I was at this fair, you know, the thing with all those rides and shit, and I was getting off this ride, and as I was getting off, I had to walk to the left because I had put my phone and a few things I was holding down, but the exit was to the right, and there was only this really thin walkway to get to the right to where the exit was, so I had to get off the ride and go to the left in the opposite direction that everyone else was going in this thin walkway. So I was kind of squeezing by these people, and then this dad is like, "Excuse me, you're going the wrong way, the exit's over there." And I was like, "I know, I have to go get my stuff," and I went and got my stuff. And what this showed me is that sometimes to get what belongs to you and what's yours, you have to walk a different way than everyone else. Wow. Picture a house or home with a family in it that truly cares for each other deeply and cares for their home and tries to keep it clean because that's what's best. Now picture this family as being everyone in the world with the house as being Earth. Our planet is the house of all life, and we are consciously making the choice to destroy it. You would think a family's crazy if you saw them buy a house that was there to shelter them, and then as soon as they got there, they started smashing it with sledgehammers. There's a lot of people nowadays who don't take life too seriously, as you shouldn't. You shouldn't take it too seriously, but you should take the health of our planet and our population and race, the human race, seriously, because at least I want to leave a positive impact on this earth, and I think that other people should have the same goal. I truly and deeply send a lot of love and healing to all you who don't give a shit and think a lot of this shit is fake. Yes, a lot of things in life don't really matter, but love matters. Recently, I've been trying this thing where the second you wake up, you go and journal and see what comes out of your mind, no matter how weird it may sound, and this is what I came up with today, and I hope someone out there can use this. Love is everywhere. You just have to look for it. There are so many distractions, but you don't have to give in. Everything is love, but sometimes it hurts. When things hurt, it's harder for you to feel love, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. Love is existing. Love is persisting. Love is even quitting. Love is everything, and everything is love. It can be easy to be blind to, but love is clear. When you aren't feeling love, know it's still there, because love never dies. Love doesn't go away, even if you try to push it away. Love never loses, even when it hurts you. Love teaches you to never stop loving. Sometimes we just have to love and look in other directions. The most important love is the one you have for yourself. Without love inside, how do you authentically give your inner love to others? Without love, what is there? Love brings peace, joy, and happiness. When you feel hard, sad emotions, remember love. Love is always there for you. It never leaves you, even if you don't think you can see or feel love. Always remember love, because love is everywhere. I have a piece of advice for anyone out there who's looking for some advice on how to live their everyday life better. What I do every day of my life is I don't think about yesterday or last week or last month or last year. Because quite frankly, if that doesn't exist, if you keep thinking about it, it exists in your mind and you're dwelling on it and putting your energy into the past. But if you focus on today and act like it's a brand new start and you can do anything you want with your day and your life today, in this moment, you'll be living a better life. Everything that happened to you yesterday or any time in your past isn't happening to you now unless you allow it to be continuing to affect you. No matter the sadness, embarrassing moment, or whatever it may be that you're dwelling on from the past and holding on to, it's not affecting you right now as long as you aren't thinking about it and allowing it to affect you. If you focus on the positive and what you can do, your day today will be much better than yesterday. I used to be an insecure and hateful person that chose to tear other people down in the belief that it was funny and entertaining. I would consciously tear people down, thinking that my actions and words had nothing to do with the beliefs inside of myself. The truth is, all it had to do was with me. People will want you to be happy when you're sad, but then once you get happy, people will look at you and want you to be sad and tear you down. People will believe that you are deserving of love and happiness, but then when you express it into the world, it is then seen as something to be jealous of and you be undeserving or cocky. We hate on other people's success because we don't see the possibility, capability, and potential inside of ourselves. Just because someone is shining doesn't mean you should feel the need or want to dim their light. For almost everyone, it takes a lot of hard work and time to create their light. And when you try to pour your darkness into someone's light, it does nothing but show the evidence of your darkness more. Light will always outshine the darkness that one projects into the world. Light is pure and darkness is confused and lonely. When you see anyone with light and you're in the darkness, you'll want to drag them down and make them feel the same ways that you feel so that you aren't alone. When you're in the dark and you see someone in the light, you'll want to find things that are wrong with them because you really find so many things wrong within yourself. If anyone tries to tear you down, please remember that it has nothing to do with you and all to do with the person that's tearing you down and the darkness inside of them. These people that hate are living in darkness and feel that there's nothing else for them to do but then to bring people in the light down with them. Now, this is not to say that you can't change and people in the dark are necessarily horrible human beings. They can do actions that aren't the best or most enjoyable for other people and even themselves. I've been in the darkness for a long time, but being in the light is such a freeing experience and you can really reflect on yourself and the world. And when you see people hating on your light, you can realize that it has nothing to do with bringing you down and it has all to do with them feel like they're bringing themselves down. So anyone out there who is shining their light, continue to do so no matter the darkness and clouds and rain that come your way, because light attracts darkness and light can stick through anything and darkness will crumble. To anyone out there who believes that what's keeping them back from true inner happiness, peace, and bliss is the battle against their inner demons, please watch this video because I used to be exactly like you. These demons in our mind are illusions of the beliefs we believe in surrounding us. These beliefs create our possible ability. These beliefs can be just about anything. For example, they can be things that you made up as a young child to help you feel more safe and protected and put a burden on yourself. These beliefs you could have now outgrown and are no longer serving you. These beliefs can also be other people's projections that you chose to believe in and things that the world tells you about yourself. And your own ego that tears you down, feeding into the illusion of all of this. All of this pain, worry, anger, or whatever it may be for you creates an illusion inside of yourself of disbelief for yourself. These inner demons are inside of us and on earth to give us the opportunity to learn, see them, and work through them. People often use a metaphor that there's a war going on inside of them, and I've been there. I have learned that a more effective way of fighting this demon is instead of fighting it, to work with it. When you notice one of these feelings or beliefs coming up into your thought or emotion, don't resist it because that's only feeding into the demon more. Instead, you could talk to the demon and ask why it's there, what it's doing, and why it thinks it's serving you. Have your own personal dialogue with this demon until you find some sort of resolution or understanding with it. See how this belief inside of you does not serve you anymore, why it's there, and what it might need to feel heard and cared for. Anytime you hear this demon coming up in your thought or emotion, you can recognize it and work through it and talk with it together. Work with it to work through it. Depending on the conversation you had and how deeply rooted the demon is inside of you, you may notice this belief continuing to pop up. Don't be mad or worried that it's coming up again. It just means it wants to talk and has more to talk about. You have more to figure out inside of you together. Typically, when people feel this demon, they see it as an unbearable pain. What it actually is an opportunity to work through the conflict inside of us. Our demons are not here to kill us. They are here to teach us more about ourselves. Our demons are what lead us to our true happiness, peace, and bliss. I'm sure that growing up in this world has never been an easy thing to do. From my own personal experiences and yours too, I'm sure that we both share in common the struggles of growing up and learning how to make our way through it. Sometimes we don't always have people there to support us and help pick us up. Sometimes we don't know which way to go or how to guide ourselves. And if you're used to struggling and still here today, that by itself deserves a round of applause. It almost seems as if the world is designed for us to grow up in pain. Society tells us what we should and shouldn't be, with groups of passionate followers arguing on both perspectives of any topic. The way everyone argues today has taken away from the true meaning and purpose of argumentation. Argumentation is neither a fight nor disagreement. Arguments are rather just a contradiction of one's opinion. Arguments are solely your opinion with claims adding on to other claims to make an ultimate conclusion. Arguments are meant to bring us closer together and see each other's perspectives understandingly. As many people nowadays only see arguments as ways to tear each other apart and have one side be right. I think it would make it more difficult to understand and really listen to someone else's opinion when thinking that an argument is solely a fight and you trying to be right. Arguments share ideas and thoughts. Arguments lead us to conclusions. Arguments are what should be bringing us together as we share ideas and collaborate. Most people aren't mature enough to put their ego aside and really have a conversation with someone. Most people feel like they need to be right. Most people wouldn't even think they could be wrong. I believe there is a way to stop the struggles in society today, or at least minimize them more. And I think to do this, we need to be having more conversations openly. We need to be more open to keeping our ears open to something we might not want to hear. Things won't change from one person, but it sure can start. And I know that I try my best to share my truth almost every day with anyone who I come across. Now, if you're like me and see a more positive future for humanity on the horizon, try your best to keep speaking your truth. Arguments can be quick, mature, and effective if everyone involved is ready for that. There is not a right or wrong way to follow belief in one's life. No matter what you choose to believe in or what way of belief you choose to believe, they're all just ways. When we identify with one singular belief or practice, we then limit the options and information out there that are available for us and waiting for us to be used. When we shame or judge others for their belief, we then limit our own knowledge in closing out our idea of another person's perception. If you really want to learn, grow, and heal the most, I would say to be open to every belief. Being open to a belief doesn't mean you have to obey it and live by it. It means that you can try to understand it and learn why someone else may believe in it. Our beliefs aren't stuck with us throughout an entire lifetime if we want them to be. They can always evolve and change. There are almost endless practices out there that people can try throughout their lifetime and see if it resonates with them in that specific time in their life. We are all on different paths with different perceptions of the world, which means we are not going to all agree on every single topic. And honestly, if you do look deeper into a lot of beliefs, you can see how there is a very common ground and meaning and symbolism in between and interlocked in all of them. A lot of these beliefs tell different stories that ultimately mean the same thing and are giving the same deeper message. What holds us back from seeing our true unity in belief is that we think all these stories and beliefs are so different, when really all we really believe in is each other. People tend to want to resist the thought that every human being has the same goal in attaining inner peace, bliss, and freedom. Instead of looking at someone who we deem as the complete opposite in beliefs as us, how about we look at them and think to ourselves, they want the exact things I want. We don't all achieve the same thing in the same ways, so we should start respecting each other more for the ways that we are all going to get there eventually. Belief isn't something that should be tearing us apart because it actually shows us the similarity we all have in belief, whether it's a different belief or not. They're all just beliefs. Yesterday I wrote a poem and it goes like this. Low nights of sorrow, days full of rest, the strength to still breathe and solely being here to attest. Through thoughts of evil and actions of harm, wandering relentless with hope in the far. What is the cause? Is there a reason to be? Was life meant just for pain, yet through all death of pain we're reborn to breathe? For the impossible to be conquered, coming new mountains to cross. When the head is down, you must look forward to see all. Missing pieces are ones, only yet to be found. You would never touch the water if all you believed was you'd drown. Life's seasons change to see the beauty in each. When remaining in one, no new sight can be reached. No matter how far walked, there is always more to see. Even in the dark, you see beauty is to be. It's true that we aren't our emotions, but we still do experience them, and they can affect our state of being. To push away your emotions is to push away part of yourself. And to not love your emotions is to not love a part of yourself, and I believe that self-love is one of the most important aspects about anyone's life. And I don't believe that this self-love ends at looking in the mirror and loving what you see, or telling yourself all these wonderful things about yourself that you love and admire. To me, it goes much deeper when it comes to self-love. To me, true self-love is loving the way that you walk through life, having a profound love for yourself, all other selves, and the entire world around you, unconditionally. This unconditional part of self-love means that you love yourself under no conditions, no matter what emotion you feel, what you think you look like in the mirror, what other people are telling you. There's no conditions that limit your love because you deserve love any second of your life. Your emotions are not what you are, but they do make up part of your experience. And when you reject these emotions, you are rejecting your own self and denying yourself self-love that you are completely worthy of. I feel like a lot of these lower heavy emotions can feel like a very dense jungle, and you feel like you can't find love in any of them. The truth is, what everything wants in the world is love. So when you're feeling these emotions that you want to reject and resist and push away and keep further down inside your body and mind, try giving it some love. And try loving yourself for feeling those emotions, because that's part of the experience, and one day you won't be able to experience those emotions, even though you might never want to, but it will all be gone, and you will even love the moments where you were experiencing things that you maybe didn't want to, and looking back, it will be a lot nicer if you could have remembered that you loved those times and still loved yourself when you were struggling. Living solely in your mind is what causes any emotion you don't want to experience. This could be anything from overthinking, anxiety, worrying, contemplating the past, etc. You create this thought and the experience that follows the thought. You could be thinking, where the hell am I supposed to live if it's not in my mind? And the answer is your body. What the fuck is living through your body? One might ask and wonder. Now, this idea could seem abstract or even difficult at first, but once you can understand it and feel it, you will completely get it and see the difference. When you can live more through your body instead of your mind, you will be at way more peace in any and every situation. Living through your body is living through observing all of your 5 senses. Thought is not a bodily sense. To live through your body is to observe through your senses. This is observing anything you see, touch, hear, taste, or smell without going on a huge tangent or rampage about meanings or judgments or anything having to do with these, just observing them. If you go on a tangent or rampage or thought trail pattern about any of these senses, that is bringing your mind into living through your body, which isn't living through your mind anymore. Living through your body is taking things a little slower for a second instead of moving 500 miles per minute, thinking and worrying and contemplating and curiosity about anything and everything. Now, our minds are very powerful and a very important part of our existence. But I have noticed humanity to come to a place where we let our minds control us, when in reality, we are the controllers of our mind. Your mind doesn't need to be processing and contemplating and wondering and thinking every second of your life. You can relax and you can live through your body, even just momentarily. Sup talk, I got a little poem for all you kids out there. 18 under, make sure to stay and listen. 18 plus, stay while you at it. Kids of the world, kids of every color, you are each worth abundance, don't listen to someone who says other. Carry your head high and your chin up. People will try to tear you down, stay strong and wish them luck. Believe in yourself and your dreams, no matter the size. The only one who controls life's outcome is yourself. Persevere towards what you want, because anyone saying you can't knows it's a lie. Look at your peers as reflections of your own self. Create unity together, spreading your inner wealth. Each of us continue to fight day after day, so stop treating each other as if we live a completely different way. Though our lives and experiences are broad, to act with entitlement would be wrong. Be ready to learn and ready to grow. Be ready to fail and be ready for lows. This is how life goes, as most of us know.
Never forget the highs, even though the lows will what make you more wise. Live each day confident in you, own in your abilities, and you can be confident in anything you do. Make sure to smile and not grow up too fast. Tell more people you love them and that you believe in their path. Listen to your heart because it knows all. It's always more about getting up and not about the fall. To move in the direction towards something means that you have to move in a direction that's leaving something behind. To move in the direction towards something, you're moving away from something that's in the other direction. Going farther away from one thing is moving you closer to something else. You have to leave point A to get to point B. To create a new destination, you have to take a different route. Imagine that you have a kid and you walk in on them crying in their room. Hopefully, you would want to give them the most love and attention and affection that you could because they're your own kid and you care so much about them and want them to be happy. Now imagine that this little kid you walked in on was you if there could be two versions of you. I hope that you would take this child's pain seriously and be there for them for what they're upset about, no matter what it is. Kids do get upset about really big traumatic things that happen in their life, but kids also do easily get upset about quote-unquote smaller things in their life. That kid crying who was you when you were younger and the version of you now is still carrying the things that that child is crying about, whether it be a big or small thing that happened to them. Be there for your kid and help them feel better. There's no one else that younger version of you is going to look up to more than the person that you are today. And the truth is that this thought experiment goes for any age. I'm 19 and let's say in 20 years, I imagine myself as 19 being really upset. I would want to be there for myself and help myself feel better. Overall, all I'm trying to get at is that you should be there for yourself, your past, present, and future self. There are always going to be people to help you feel better, but you will always have yourself to help you feel better. Be happy with the person you've become because I'm sure that the little version of you is looking up to you right now and wanting the best for you. I've heard a lot of people talk about how important your breath is and consciously connecting to your breath and being there with yourself in the present moment. And to some people, I can see why this could seem like some baloney because they could think that we just breathe to stay alive and that's kind of all there is to breathing. But what I have learned is that our breath and breathing has the ability to connect us to ourselves internally and the present moment in any situation, because I find that sometimes our head can be in different spaces and we can be thinking over here and wondering over here and worrying and stressing out. It's all in this bubble out here. But then what's at the center of it is your breath, where you can just breathe in, breathe out, and really be present with yourself in that moment, because that breath is all that there is in that moment. Because all these things that are up here and running through your mind and running through your brain, stressing you out, aren't there. They may be there in your brain, which you're allowing yourself to think and accept as being there, but if all you accept as being there is you breathing, it can really calm you down and connect you with yourself and the present moment. And I find this important because if you're not in the present moment, where are you? And I have another tip for breathing, because a lot of the time when we're born, we breathe and we put all the air into our chest or our shoulders, and we go like that, and it doesn't really feel that nice, at least to me. It feels a lot better if you let the air fill up your stomach and your lungs, and then you release it. And if you just do that, you can notice a big difference in how you feel and how you act. Overall, make sure to be aware about how important your breath is and how you can utilize it to make yourself live a better life. Suffering is subjective, and categorizing your life or someone else's life as a hard life is also subjective. People always talk about think about the people who have it worse than you and the people who are suffering more and have a horrible life, and how yours is so good because A, B, C, and D. But I believe, how could we consider who has the worst life if we all have different criteria that would fit that worst life to be living in the world? Of course, we can all agree that we don't want to be starving and homeless and dying because of poor health.
But I do believe that with every single life and lifestyle, there are pros and cons. So looking at all these other people's lives and wishing that was your life is just taking away from you working on the life that you are living and have been given and chosen. And you're putting your head in all these other people's lives when really you could be putting it in your own and making your own life not a bad life and a horrible situation that you are perceiving. There isn't a single human on this earth who has a life where there haven't been ups and downs. And that's just what comes with living any single life here. A bad life could be different for all of us. And people think that being rich and famous will solve all of your problems when really it just brings other problems into your life. People think these people who are rich and famous don't suffer, but they just suffer in different ways. Just how people who don't have a home suffer in different ways than I suffer when I do have a home. I believe it's really important to be there for everyone and realize that suffering is subjective and that everyone suffers. It's up to you if you want to let this suffering or pain that causes this suffering to make you suffer, or if you want to climb out of that and realize that you are more than this pain. Someone could always have it worse than you, and someone could always have it better than you. But when you're looking in all of those directions, you aren't looking in the mirror at what's directly in front of you and what you have to work with. I say to be grateful for every opportunity and every resource you have in your life, no matter if you think it's less or more than anyone else, because you never know what could happen tomorrow and if it could all be taken away from you. I went through a period in my life that was about 10 years long where I had basically zero self-love for myself. And in the past recent few years, I have really been working on it, and I have come a long way, and I feel like self-love is something people have to practice throughout their whole life because there are times that can set them back. But something I have realized is that self-love comes down to you choosing to love yourself and not you choosing to look at all these things that you don't and rather love those things for being you and what you are. There's so many things that people want to do for others to accept them and for others to love them. And they could think that when others accept and love them, then they can themselves. But really it's kind of the opposite, and people won't fully love you and accept you if you aren't fully in loving and accepting of yourself. Now this choice part could irritate some people because they could say, I'm trying to love myself, I just don't. And I get that. And sometimes there's things we can do to help you feel better and kind of get you closer to loving yourself. But the answer isn't always to change who you are, because in my own experience, I've changed myself. I've changed things about my life. And they have helped in some way, in some circumstances and situations. But the overall self-love just comes from you loving yourself. And sometimes you putting in the effort and work is showing you that you love yourself because you want that for yourself. You wanting self-love is already loving yourself because you know you deserve that and you know you're worthy of self-love. If you don't love yourself, stop denying yourself that self-love. You're thinking, I want to love myself, I just don't. Just do. Love where you are. Love where you're going. Know you can love where you're going. Know you can love who you are. Because it's up to you. If you want to tell yourself you don't love yourself, keep living that life. But if you really want to love yourself, start right now. If you've tried to heal yourself but never found a super effective way that you were able to use for a long time that had lasting results on you, I recommend to try meditation. And I know there are a lot of skeptics out there who don't see really any productivity in meditating and think it's a bunch of bogus, but I hate to break it to you, there's real evidence that proves how meditation can be positively impactful in one's life. Not how it can be, how it will be, because there's no wrong way to meditate. If you're trying to meditate and you're doing it, then you're meditating. There are so many different types of meditation that you can try, and you don't have to just sit in complete silence for 3 hours of your life and be so bored and have all these racing thoughts, because even when thoughts race in meditation, it's important to not push them away, but just try to allow yourself to be and see those thoughts, but don't label yourself as them necessarily if you're having a hard time getting into meditation. If you're just getting started and don't know where to start, I recommend trying some positive affirmation meditations or root chakra meditations. The root chakra is at the bottom of your spine and the first of your 7 chakras, and when you start to work with it and heal it and align it and activate it and open it, you will be healing all of the root of your trauma and disbelief. If you can practice connecting to your power, you will see your power grow and enhance. Once you start working with this energy body inside of yourself that is you, you will notice yourself to feel lighter and get to know yourself more, but it doesn't always bring perfect healing, because you will see false truths that you have been living and you will need to work through them. Meditation is a practice, which means it can be difficult at first, but just know over time you will see improvement and even have passion or drive for meditating every day. Aligning your chakras allows your Kundalini energy to flow through your spine and enlighten you. Now, even if a chakra meditation doesn't sound attractive to you, you can look up anything online, from self-love, limiting beliefs, wanting more of this, wanting to feel more of this, anything. All the meditations are out there. Our minds can race all over the place throughout our life, so giving ourselves 5, 10, 15, 20 or more minutes to just be calm and focus in on yourself is huge. And don't feel like you have to completely shut off your mind. Just try to relax your body from all the tenseness in your muscles and breathe. Focus on your breath and remember that meditation is the best medication. I highly recommend this idea to anyone, because I have noticed that often people have a lot going on in their minds, a lot more than they are consciously aware of. So when you try this exercise, mental exercise, you can get a lot out of it and get a lot out of your mind. And this exercise is to grab a journal and a pen or a pencil and write down whatever comes to your mind. This could be a bunch of random words, or this could be the most coherent essay you've ever written. Just let out what your mind is telling you to let out. As I've done this, I have come across very interesting information and advice that has come out of my own mind to myself, or maybe useful to others. So I'm going to read you guys what I wrote a few mornings ago. Blood and scars come along the way. We fall down, and sometimes it's going to leave a mark. Falling down, losing balance, or being pushed to the ground by others can hurt or feel like it's throwing you off track. The track is not always a straight line. Not everyone can be first place. But it doesn't matter, because there are 1,000 more opportunities to win every day. But is being first all there is to the race? No. All the other places learned and practiced. They were given the chance to reflect on their own game, and if they don't have their head down, they will get back up and work for first the next time. Even if the goal of first isn't achieved in 5 or 10 times, all that matters is how this person will react. Will they allow a few little scratches to bring them down, or have these scratches taught them strength, resilience, patience, and willpower? It's up to us. We are each given the choice on how we allow our blood and scars to affect us. They have the stereotype to mean something bad about ourselves when something tragic or even inconvenient has happened to us in our life. The event or occurrence has nothing to do with you. It says nothing about you, about what happens to you. If and how you decide to pick yourself up will say and show all the truth of your character. Be there for yourself, pick yourself back up, and get ready to keep moving forward. Boy, do I have a message for TikTok today. This message is a big one. It's huge, so pull your pants up and tie your belt, because you don't want anything falling out for this one. This one is that you don't have to be Mr. Santa Claus slugging away, delivering presents, making everyone happy. You don't have to know how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And you don't have to be an engineer trying to figure out how to build the Empire State Building. Okay? You don't have to do all of these crazy things that make the world a great, evolving place. The world is great and evolving, so just live. Just let it all happen, okay? Let your life be unfolded and let yourself be happy and relax while that's happening so that you don't feel like shit, okay? Just look around. Look at the trees. Look at the sun. Look at the birds chirping. Feel like Michael Bublé, okay? This is my advice for the day. Listen to Michael Bublé. Feeling good. I swear, it's really good. This is a big one. Remind yourself that you don't have to be Steve Jobs. Because Steve Jobs was Steve Jobs, okay? You're you. So go out there and be you. Be inspired by people. But don't think that just because someone has one thing doesn't mean you can't have it, okay? Just because there's people out here being happy doesn't mean you can't be happy, okay? Just because things go to shit in life doesn't mean you have to feel like shit, okay? You know, I don't think that life is a test where no matter what you do, there's a right or wrong answer. But I do believe that life poses a lot of questions for us. And rather than getting a right or wrong answer in choosing what you're going to do in life, I believe it's a question. In life, there are so many questions we can ask ourselves. Ask ourselves if we're happy, if we are doing what makes us happy, if we're around the right people in our life. And I don't think we need to be looking at life as a right or wrong answer that we are graded on and critiqued for, but rather we go certain ways and answer questions in our life certain ways that guide us to different answers that sometimes we enjoy and like, but sometimes we learn from them and go back to other questions once we learn. Life isn't so much a test of if you're doing it right or not, but it's a question of if you're doing what you believe is best and right for you or not. When you're asked a question by a family member or friend, there is probably little nerves of you getting it right or wrong, but if you were to put this question onto a test, you could start second guessing yourself and worrying about the results and not really learning or growing as much as you could be. You can view life however you want. If it's one big test that you can fail and feel horrible about or not even care about, you can see life as a question. If you're doing what you really want to be doing, see life for nothing for all that matter. But my main point is that I don't feel like people should be testing themselves out there. But you can challenge yourself with questions. Ask yourself any questions you want. Ask yourself if you're gonna do the things that you feel like you should set out to do. Don't be thinking about the result of this question, because that's when this becomes a test. Just think about the question and answer it and go through with it. And I feel like to some people, a test and a question could sound like the same thing because questions are on tests. But if you don't view the question like a test and it doesn't have the same effects and consequences as a test, isn't it just a question? Depression and mental illness are not a choice or path one chooses to take in life. Depression and any other mental illness are frequently seen as burdens. Everyone has feelings of depression now and then, but what about when it never goes away? Struggling to get out of bed, hating every second of the day, and unbearable pain to the point of choosing death upon one more second of life. Looking in the mirror and being confused as to why you're here, who you are, and how to escape. Waking up in the morning disappointed by the fact you lived to see another day. Birthdays passed when you were supposed to celebrate your existence, surrounded by cheerful friends and family, but a bottomless pit of absolutely nothing is all you feel.
Excruciating pain in the nights spent alone contemplating how little you matter. Disconnecting from the shell of your body, ever wondering if you will be happy or recognize the person in the mirror again. When your thoughts are constantly eating at the last speck of hope you didn't even know you still had. Depression and mental illness are not a choice or path one chooses to take in life. Recovery is your choice. Do you want to continue living the same agonizing day on repeat, or keep telling yourself false truths like how weak you are? If you were so weak, you would not still be here today, yesterday, or tomorrow. If you were not meant to be alive, God would have taken care of you himself. Recovery looks different for everyone. Explore yourself and what could possibly bring you back to life. Try out healthy ways to express emotion, pain, and creativity. Do one thing every day to make yourself feel more positive and uplifted. Rewire your brain and tell yourself how worthy you are of a wonderful life. Recognize where you slip and what makes you spiral. Replace old bad habits with healthy new ones. Depression does not go away overnight. Depression goes away with hard work, determination, and patience. You are the only one who can better yourself for yourself. Sometimes it is easy to stay stagnant in these painful energies infiltrating one's spirit. Sometimes it makes it nearly impossible to see the light at the end. I promise you that if you commit to your own happiness, the light at the end will be brighter than you had ever imagined before. There are so many questions to life, and I feel like a main one is what even is life? And what even is life, or the meaning of life, as it's a question a lot of people ask themselves out there. And we do all know that science is here to attempt to answer and hypothesize a lot of answers to questions for us. And a lot of the time they are able to give us an answer in how something happens or works. But science does not always tell us or know how to tell us why something works, and this is what I believe is left up to the mind. Science can tell us how the human body works, but why is the human body here on Earth, right? I believe that life is an opportunity. Life gives us the opportunity for opportunity. Life gives us the opportunity for change. Life gives us the opportunity to love and to heal and to grow and to support and to collaborate and to come together, etc. The opportunities that life presents to every single human being on the planet in this world is available and offered 24/7 hours of every single year. And this opportunity doesn't go away. It wasn't only present yesterday or tomorrow, but it's here every second of your life and existence. And it all comes down to if you want to grab these opportunities and see where they can take you and what you can learn from them and what they can teach you. Or you can hold off from the opportunity. In my personal opinion, I say take any opportunity that you can and want to, and that you will work for, because in the end, if you don't take these opportunities that you truly want, you're holding yourself back from your full potential and what you could be reaching in your lifetime. I go to school in Santa Barbara, and about a month ago, my dad drove me back home to the Bay Area in one of his big vans that he has for his job. You know, this type that's taller than an average car. As we were on the drive back, we got into traffic, and I was thinking about how all the smaller cars could only see what was in front of them, a few cars, and how me, being in the van, could see almost all of traffic. This got me thinking about how when I'm in a typical car that's not as tall as this van I was in, you can get really frustrated because all you're thinking about is the few cars in front of you that you can see and how slow it's going and how painful and annoying it can be. Being in this bigger van, I could see past the few cars that were directly in front of me, and I could see the bigger view of the traffic, which made it so much more bearable because I knew it was going to end. Now, being in a big van in traffic versus a normal car got me relating this to perspectives in life and how sometimes
if you're in a lower perspective and only focusing on the few things right in front of you, it can make life seem boring or unbearable. Now, this isn't to say to not be cautious of the things in front of you, because in traffic you don't want to run into a car and cause chaos, emergency, and danger. But you do want to balance it out and know that the things directly in front of you aren't all there is to it. When I could see the situation from a higher perspective, literally higher, I was able to see that there's way more to this whole situation than just the few cars directly in front of me. I was able to realize that the traffic comes to an end and that there's way more to the drive home than just the few cars that seem to be slowing me down in front of me. Immediately, I thought of how this can relate to perspectives in life and how we have all experienced times where we get frustrated with the things in front of us and it can be harder to see the bigger picture. What I try to remind myself in these times of feeling stuck in the things that are directly in front of you is to just remember that there is more. And personally, I'm young, I'm 19, and even if you're 80 years old, it's important to know that there is more out there than just what could be making you feel difficult right now. Being in the lower car in traffic made it seem very boring and undesirable, but when I was in the higher perspective and going really slow, I actually enjoyed the traffic more and liked being able to recognize everything in front of me and how it was all perfectly fine and temporary. Do with this what you want, but I just want you to have a positive perspective on your life, because your life is worth so much and you deserve a good perspective. We all know the saying, forgive and forget, and we have all had to forgive people in our lifetime, and we will all have to forgive people in the future. My question is, when we forgive someone, do we forgive them because they've showed they've changed, or do we forgive them because they're sorry? And what I have boiled this down to is neither. You should not forgive someone because of how they're acting. That can influence you forgiving them, but it shouldn't be why. Forgiving someone is based on you and how you want to feel in this situation. I've heard this saying before, and this isn't exactly the words, but it's along the lines of, when you forgive someone, it's not helping that other person, but when you forgive someone, it's more freeing you from the constraint and the burden of this person that you had to forgive or are trying to forgive for something. In my opinion, if someone wrongs you and apologizes to you and wants you to forgive them, or even if they don't apologize but forgiveness is on the table, I recommend that you only take into question how you feel and if you want to forgive them. You can forgive someone but not ever talk to them again, and you can forgive someone but not forget what they've done. Someone can say that they're sorry and you can feel like you're ready to forgive them, or you could not, and someone could show that they've changed time after time again, and you can forgive them or you don't have to. I believe forgiving someone is your choice and has nothing to do with what this other person you are forgiving is doing. It has all to do with you and how you want to feel and how you want to act. When you forgive someone, it's not taking this burden off this person you're forgiving, even though they really might want you to forgive them because they could care about you. But when you forgive someone, it's truly taking the load and heaviness off of you, because that person put it onto you. And when you forgive someone, you're loving yourself. We all know the saying, forgive and forget, but personally, I'm more of a forgive and remember type. If you did something really wrong to me in the past, I can forgive you for it so that I don't feel that emotional and mental burden anymore. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna forget about all the fucked shit you've done to me, because I don't want that to happen again. I forgive you and I hope you learn and I hope you're happy. But not forgetting.
Ugh, that is such an unrealistic body standard.
If you haven't already
already seen the TikTok I stitched, I recommend watching it before you watch this. The video categorizes all women as being insecure and hating on other girls because of their body. In the end, the whole point of the video is that boys are the only ones that really support girls. I think this video was obviously made by a boy, because if a girl made this, they would have known that this isn't true at all, and it's just categorizing an entire gender under one umbrella. Yes, maybe there are some girls who have low self-esteem because of today's society and what's placed on them or trauma in their past. So when they see a girl that's confident, it hurts them inside because they know how sad they are with themselves. Not even a girl that's confident, just a girl they can compare themselves to and wish they looked like, maybe, in some way. What I personally got from this video is that as a society, generation, and world, we need to work on understanding each other better, because unless we all know each 7 billion people in the world, we can't act like we understand everyone and know who they are. So this might sound weird to the majority of people out there, but I actually look at strangers and I just love them. I don't know who they are, what they think like, what they act like, but I just look at random people when I'm out and about, and I have so much love for them because I want them to be so happy and feel love, because every single human, even the ones who do horrible things, deserve love. Even though it can be really hard, and sometimes you shouldn't look past things that you disagree with in people's morals and life choices, but I try to look past that in basically everyone and still love them, because everyone's deserving of love. And in my opinion, I feel like the people who don't act in the most loving ways are the ones who have lacked or felt like they've lacked love the most in their own life. You know, I think it's really just a great thing to live your life and love other people for being and just living their own life and for being people. Whether someone's having the best day or year or decade of their life or the worst moment of their life, everyone's deserving of love from another human being. And I can see why it could be really easy to think that some people who do really bad things to others should deserve no love, but wouldn't they just keep doing the same horrible things if they received no love and no outlet or support of at least one single person who was there to show them and tell them that they believe in them and there's more to them than these horrible things that they could be doing. This topic kind of reminds me of how we should have sympathy for strangers, because as we all know, we never know what anyone's going through, and just because you've seen someone act in certain ways doesn't mean that's the true potential and actuality of who they are on the inside. It could just be an outcome of environmental factors and mental factors and settings and circumstances that they have been put through that have made them act in these ways. I'm sure everyone out there has had their own occurrence when they have acted in a way that they would not generalize their typical behavior of. And just think about the people who could have seen you on that day and could have judged you off that, and maybe could have even had the thought that they don't deserve blah blah blah. When you think about that for other people, it's kind of the exact same thing, but just instead of you being involved in the person who's acting in a way that they might not always, it's a stranger who you don't know how they always act. I believe that the majority of the world underestimates their true power and strength as a human being alive on Earth today. Everyone in their life goes through things that seem really hard and almost unbearable to overcome. But yet, everyone who is watching this video has overcome those things and come out a stronger person, even though it may feel like those things have torn them down. And that's where I find a lot of people to get things mixed up in their head, because they have overcome so much and gone through so much in their life to make them a very strong person, but then they think that means that they're weak because they've faced all these things and had to somehow manage to get through them, and they don't even really feel like they have gotten through these things fully some of the time. And I think this is where people feel like these things that have hit them hard in life have made them weaker, because they feel weak when these hard things are banging on them, trying to crash them down. But in my perspective and opinion, you being here today is all the proof that you need that these things are making you stronger, because if they weren't making you stronger, you wouldn't be here today. As human beings, individually, we all have so much power inside of ourselves in our hearts, but collectively, we take on more power than we could ever imagine. There's things that happen to people basically every single day of their life that question whether they should keep going or if they're what
or if what they're doing, is even right. And just continuing to move forward, even when moving forward looks and feels like doing nothing, that is all you need to be doing. And life isn't a rush where you need to try and get rid of all the bad things as quickly as possible. It's a process, and you do what you can to be the best person you can and feel the best that you can. When these hardships in life feel like they're knocking you down and that you aren't getting any stronger for them, and that you may not get any stronger at all because these seem unbearable and like you can't live. When these moments happen, please remember the true strength in who you are and what has gotten you to be alive in this exact moment in time. Because it's you. You have the capability to take away your life, and you have the capability to keep going. And life is something very precious, and I feel like it can be overlooked, especially when you're not in the most safe mental state. But I guarantee you, from all the experience I've had with struggling and depression and suicide, everything you're feeling now, even if it's not going away forever yet, all it's doing is making you a stronger person and showing you different sides and perspectives to life. Please remember how strong you are, and I believe in you so much. So this video might seem a little different from the rest of mine because I'll be talking about this TikToker who most of you have probably seen, who goes around and asks people if they're happy in their life, and the majority of people sadly say that they aren't happy in their life. And it makes me sad because the comments are also agreeing when these people say that they're living a miserable life, saying, this guy's keeping it real, he knows, and stuff like that. If I were to be asked this question, I would say I am happy in my life. Now, I do understand where all these people are coming from, because if I were to be asked this just about any other year in my life, I would have said no, I'm miserable and I hate my life and I don't even want to be here, it's meaningless. Something I have learned to help you love your life more and be happy in your life more is to appreciate the small things. And I know that this can sound cliche or generic, but when you break it down, it really makes sense and works. When these hard things are happening in your life and you're focusing on them and putting your energy and thought into them, that is what is continuing to manifest itself into your reality. So if you're focusing on your horrible life, your life will continue to be horrible, because that's what you're painting your life to be. Now, I completely get to some extent that we do not control what happens in our life completely, and the things that happen in our life that can be really hard, we don't always control. But what we do always control is how we react after, and what we feel after, and what we do after. When bad things happen to us in life, it can be easy to just focus on those, and that's it. But what I've learned is that there's so much more to appreciate and look out there for. If you want true happiness and fulfillment in life, you won't be chasing success, money, and all these things, because that doesn't give you true fulfillment in life. Because let's say you get those things, you'll just be on to the next and continue chasing for unrealistic expectations. True fulfillment comes from within, and when you can truly fulfill yourself from the inside out, you will be happy in your life. And a way to get this fulfillment I've found is to, as I said, appreciate the small things, which can be anything. For instance, you're having a bad day. Lift your head up and look at the sky. Is it there? Are there clouds? Is it blue? What do you like about it? What around you makes you happy and grateful to be here? Do you have 2 ears that you can hear with and listen to music and hear other people's thoughts with? Do you have eyes that you can see beautiful sunsets with? Do you have hands that you can make beautiful art with? I've found that a lot of the time it's a big perspective shift in choosing to live a happy life or sulking in these hard moments that you prolong. Appreciating the little things in life makes your life happy, because all that life really is a bunch of these little things, and you just have to find them and make yourself happy. This flower could just be sitting here and I could think that it's ugly, or I could look at it and be so grateful for it, and it could be a reason for me to keep going. You get to choose if you love or hate your life.